Government corruption has never been more prevalent or caused more harm. It's why extremism is on the rise. It's why the financial gap between the haves and have-nots has never been wider. And it's why our planet is at risk of an extinction level tragedy. That's why I need your help to keep exposing the truth about the rot on both sides of the aisle. Become a supporter or a friend of the show today by clicking on the coffee link in the description box below. Friends of the show join me on a Zoom hangout once a month, and you guys can ask me any questions you want, and I can get to know you better. But the most important reason to help is to keep the show alive. Together, we can and will save our country and our planet. Thanks in advance and enjoy the show. Hey, everyone, welcome to the show. So for years now, we've been wondering when the cult members might snap out of it, when they might realize that Donald Trump needs to go. As I shared with you guys, I was pretty skeptical about the January 6th hearings having any impact. I thought the committee would just be preaching to the choir. What I didn't count on was the way that they conducted the hearings, and also the number of Republicans, the Trump-loving witnesses that were willing to testify publicly. That has shifted the narrative, and it appears that right-wing media is now manufacturing consent for Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. And it's working too. There are numerous polls now showing that DeSantis is beating Trump in head-to-head matchups. In fact, there was a recent Newsweek survey which showed DeSantis beating Trump by 50.9 to only 38.6. That was a shocking change in a very short period of time, because there was a New York Times Siena poll that was conducted just over July 5th through, I think it was the 7th. They showed Trump beating DeSantis 49 to 25. So it was a complete reversal. The only thing that occurred in the interim was the January 6th hearings. And now even betting markets are giving DeSantis better odds of winning than Trump in 2024. And those sentiments are translating into cold hard cash, because there were recent figures that were released from fundraising committees for both Trump and DeSantis. And they showed that DeSantis brought in almost 3 times as much money as Trump. And Trump voter focus groups revealed that he's completely lost his appeal. In June, a Republican strategist, this woman, she's been conducting focus groups with Trump voters since January 6th. She told journalists that not a single former Trump voter wanted him to run again in her last 2 focus groups. She said that's something that has never, ever happened before. And then in a more recent focus group of Missouri Republicans, these are people who voted for Trump. 5 out of the 13 group members said that they don't want Trump to run again. The rest of the people that were in this focus group were completely ambivalent about Trump. And they said, oh, well, I would vote for him over Biden, but I'd really like to see a stronger candidate. And of those who are over Trump, one of the men said, quote, "I think it's just a real character issue. I voted for him last time. I don't think he has the character to be president. I love his policies, but don't like his character at all." I mean, stealing children from their parents, literally taking children away from their parents, didn't tell you a little bit about his character? Barring people from coming here just because of their religion or their country of origin didn't tell you about his character? Cheating on all of his wives didn't tell you about his character? Okay, yeah. There was a female focus group participant also who said, quote, "To have the bullying stance that Trump took within his party and against the Democratic Party, and then have his wife run an anti-bullying campaign. So for me, he lost a lot of respect just throughout his whole presidential term." Another woman cited January 6th specifically for her change of heart. She said, quote, "The man doesn't deserve to be president again. I mean, that was the first time that it's happened on a federal building and by a president. So I'm just totally against him." Again, these were Trump voters. Donors are also ready for somebody with less baggage. Republican donor Dan Ebhart told Politico, quote, Trump is facing an important onslaught of negative facts with these hearings, and there is no real defense. He has no friendly members on the committee, and there aren't facts to put in front of the public to make any of this sound less bad. Even Republican leaders now are starting to reconsider their support for Trump or flat out saying, I'm done. So, for instance, Arizona State House Speaker Rusty Bowers, he was the man who testified at the January 6th committee hearings, and he confirmed that Trump and his allies pressured him to commit a crime to keep Trump in office. After that, though, he said, yeah, I would still support Trump in 2024. I would still vote for him. And everybody was like, what is wrong with this person? Well, now he's even walked that back. And he says the country is basically tired of the drama. And he said, I will never vote for Trump again. So what is it? Is it Trump fatigue? Is it the hearings? I would posit, after looking at everything, that it's a confluence of factors. Yes, the hearings are making headway. GOP donors and fundraisers cite the hearings when they say things like, quote, donors are very concerned that Trump is the one Republican who can lose in 2024. And, Trump voters can say what they want. They can claim, oh, I'm not watching. Information still seeps through, though. I guarantee they have friends or they have family members who are watching, who did watch the hearings, and they're sharing little bits of damaging information. It's clearly making a difference. So for one, we've seen a major shift in the polls since the hearing started. In January of this year, only 41% of Americans agreed that Trump should face criminal charges for January 6th. After the hearing started, that number jumped substantially. It jumped to almost 60% in some polls. And it's clear the right-wing media is starting to change their Trump message. Fox News, they refused to air the first of the January 6th hearings, and then they aired all of the daytime hearings. They didn't air the first or the last one. And if you look at the commentary given by their daytime hosts versus their nighttime hosts, it's as if they're living on different planets. The vast majority of the daytime hosts and the pundits have been very brutally honest about Trump's culpability and what legal jeopardy he's in. The nighttime hosts, though, are still maintaining, oh, Trump is innocent. They act as if, almost all of them didn't personally text on January 6th to try to get Trump to stop the carnage. It's pretty pathetic. But what's clear is that the powers that be over at Fox, they appear to have very anti-Trump sentiments, because this wouldn't be happening if they hadn't given the okay. Even the daytime hosts wouldn't be turning on Trump and being honest. And they're not playing any of his rallies. They're not giving him any free airtime like they used to. They're just not giving him any love whatsoever. And you've probably seen also, there was a Wall Street Journal and then a New York Post article, one right after the other. And this was following the final January 6th hearing. Their editorial boards completely torched Trump. They flat out said he's not fit for office. And both of those publications, keep in mind, are owned by Rupert Murdoch as well. They are Fox News owned. And then even anecdotally, I can tell you the comment section of right-wing outlets contain a lot of concern about Trump from his former voters. These people are saying that they're going to be better off nominating somebody like DeSantis. Of course, they never admit that Trump is anything but perfect, but they're saying things like, oh, I just don't want to live through another 4 years of the media attacking everything that Trump does. Sure, Jan. There's blood in the water. They smell it. They know it. And Trump has been wounded by his own actions and the testimony of his own staff and party leaders. The evidence is just irrefutable. So, that's clearly why Fox and other outlets are now manufacturing consent for DeSantis. They know that the sentiment within the party now is anyone but Trump. And they see the polling. They see, even though Biden's approval rating is astonishingly low, He's still beating Trump in head-to-head polls. That same Time Siena poll I mentioned showed that 16% of Republicans would either vote for Biden or they would vote for a third-party candidate, or they would simply not vote at all, they said, if Trump is the GOP nominee again. And again, that poll was conducted before the final primetime hearing, which laid out in very shocking detail how Trump failed to uphold his oath of office and how he purposely put his own VP in danger that day. But, if you're waiting for Republican lawmakers to bail on Trump, don't hold your breath. That is never going to happen. They still have to pander to that fringe, rabid side of their base. They know, number one, they won't get elected. Number two, they'll put their lives in danger, literally, if they don't support him. And, there was one Republican lawmaker out there who said that, quote, they're just waiting for Trump to die. Aren't we all? I mean, doesn't get more blatant than that. That's their whole strategy. Just wait him out. Anyway, guys, when and if I hear more, I'll let you know. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.